Kylie, I mean, earlier on you spoke to a rep, talking to us more about the ongoing investigations. It seems that thousands have been affected to a point whereby banks have had to freeze some accounts and, of course, seize some assets.
Well, that's right, because the National Consumer Commission has been working with the likes of Asset Forfeiture Unit to try and get to the bottom of this particular case. But also they've just revealed that in terms of other pyramid schemes, they're looking about 6 of them, and of course Up Money, 2 directors have been implicated. So they're looking at a number of areas here, but also warning South Africans as well that at all times they should be vigilant, because from time to time you always do have people who just be out and about promising them all sorts of things. So people should be wary in their conduct. So far they know that some accounts were used, and about 42 million rand was generated out of Up Money, and over 230,000 people were affected. But I also got an opportunity to ask them whether have they suspended this particular scheme, and the response was there is a serious investigation to get to the bottom of this.
So, Kaya, I mean, there are so many of these schemes that come up from time to time, the get-rich-quick schemes that come up from time to time. What do we know about Up Money? How did it operate? How did it end up with so many people having joined and generating more than 40 million rand, much of which has actually vanished?
So the Commission stated in no uncertain terms that during the course of the lockdown, there was a scheme that came out, and promising people all sorts of things in terms of getting rich super fast and making all kinds of promises. So, for example, we know that you had to pay about 180 rand, and then you got an opportunity to recruit about 5 individuals. So then, based on that, then there'll be certain divisions in terms of the rankings, where you'll have the first class and then the second class. So that's how it went. And in terms of the Consumer Protection Act, we know that it prohibits any conduct of this particular nature. But also in terms of the big question, in terms of the recovery of the funds, so the Commission is seized with that particular issue. We know that the NPA, alongside one of its units, the Assets Forfeiture Units, they do have the Assets Recovery Account. So that's where consumers will be able to access the funds. But of course, this is pending a lot of investigations to look into this matter.
And Kaya, I mean, just as a preventative measure, did the National Consumer Organization give you any advice for South Africans, just in terms of how to spot a pyramid scheme? Because it is a lockdown. Some people have unfortunately lost their jobs. Some have, gotten salary cuts. So you can imagine perhaps people at this point are trying any means that they can to make extra money, but that could be equally detrimental and dangerous. Any pointers given to spot a pyramid scheme?
So they say whenever you're asked to recruit a certain number of people, you should be wary, you should be vigilant of that particular conduct. At least that's what the acting commissioner told us. But also, most importantly, they said in terms of other schemes, whether you're looking at Stokvel, so they say that's really fine, you can do that. But whenever you're asked to get a certain number of people, where you benefit based on a massive number of people that you've recruited, so it raises alarms bell. So one should be very careful of such activities. But also, most importantly, they do emphasize that people will fall prey to these things if they are not vigilant enough. So from time to time, people should be very careful how they invest their money. And we know this is a very desperate time where retrenchments are the order of the day, all sorts of things happening with the economy in the doldrums. So you have all kinds of financial challenges. So they do continue to say that people should be careful. And we know that the Commission from its side, they really don't have a lot of expertise in terms of forensic skills. So hence they decided to rope in the state institutions like the assets forfeiture units, but also the financial investigating statutory bodies as well, so that they try to have more skills to be able to tackle this. But in terms of the early warning system, it's still a bit of a challenge from their side, because obviously you may never know what people are up to, but it only just gets flagged once people do use financial accounts. So that's when the banks then from time to time can see suspicious activities.
From the nation's capital, that's ENCA's Khayelihle Khumalo there reporting for us.